Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Iowa 86, Grand Canyon 74. The Iowa Hawkeyes win their opening round in this NCAA tournament, 2021 version. I am John Miller. Thank you for coming along. And, there for a while in the second half, I had a tweet ready to go. I ultimately did tweet it because I put a lot of effort into it. I said, because Iowa was up by 18, I think was their largest lead of the game. I'm going to look that real quick, and then I'll be able to tell you largest lead. Don't see it anywhere here. Anyway, I think it was 18. So when Iowa was ready to go up 20, I had the tweet ready saying, okay, here we go. Iowa's largest ever victory in an NCAA tournament game came against Davidson in 2015. Iowa won that one by 31 points. Then the next largest was 1955 when they played Purdue in a regional semifinal, which was also Iowa's first game of that tournament and first NCAA tournament game ever. They won by 24. And then 1987, then two-seeded Iowa beat then 15-seeded Santa Clara by 23 points. And then the next one before that was Iowa winning by 19 points, or was it 18? It was 18 points against UNLV in the 1988 tournament. But then every time I wanted to tweet it, Grand Canyon would hit a shot in there. So I wound up tweeting it anyway. Iowa winds up winning by 12. So no history was made or even approached, but hey, 86-74, Hawkeyes move on to face an Oregon team as we welcome Marc Morehouse into the March Madness edition of the postgame show. An Oregon team that is not going to play today or tonight because VCU has been, I guess, eliminated, or it's a no contest because of the COVID issues that they were having. So we'll talk about whether or not that's a good thing or a bad thing or a no thing. I guess maybe it's a find out after the tournament's over thing. But at any rate, on this night, Iowa picks up a win. And Mark, I don't know about you, but seeing Ohio State lose as a 2-seed yesterday, if Fran didn't have his team's attention on taking every opponent seriously in this tournament, at that point, he probably did right after.
I imagine, yes. I don't. It's not time to F around. I read a book when I was a kid. Dwayne Thomas, the Dallas Cowboys running back. Some sports writer wrote it. I can't remember. He had a line in it. It was on Super Bowl Sunday. He walked by Dwayne Thomas, and Dwayne Thomas just said, "It's the Super Bowl day. Don't F with me today." And so I think Iowa was in that mode anyway. But yeah, you see the Ohio State thing, and obviously guard is up. But, John, this game ended for me when the Oregon announcement was made. I was like, okay, get him off the court. Game is over. This is my irrational sense of fairness, what I think is fair and what should I think happen. I know it's irrational, and I put that label on it right away. But as soon as the Oregon announcement was made, I was like, game over. Here's your T-shirt. Here's your box of deodorant or whatever. Goodbye, Grand Canyon. And let's get to the real thing.
I get it. And, it's been a year unlike any other year in each of our lives for varying degrees.
Exactly.
And it's a tournament that's going to be unlike any other. And
that's why I said irrational.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, it's hard to be rational in an unprecedented times a year, but it is what it is. Let's take a quick look here at the stat sheet. Want to bring that up real quick, just to see some numbers from this game. Going to show you Iowa's right now. This number right here, this 1.458 points per possession. That's a really, really, really good number for Iowa. Looking at, and then over on the other side for Grand Canyon, they scored 1.138. That's not a great number. It's not a great defensive number, but Iowa scores nearly 90 points. And really, that's what it was about in this game. And Iowa's not going to run into, Iowa was scoring with such ease. Iowa made 54% from the floor. They were 10 of 22 from three. They somehow wound up making 75% of their free throws. You're going to take the 54, 45, 75 percentiles from those three categories every single time out. Second chance points, that was the that was the fly in the ointment there, 19-8. But points in the paint, Iowa held their own with the double-headed monster there. What was his name? Midgard and then Lever. Midgard winds up with 18 and 6 boards, Lever with 13, Blackshear with 15. Mark, those were the three players that we highlighted when we did our show last Sunday. Those are their top 3 leading scorers, and really nobody else did much of anything for the game. And we also talked about how streaky Grand Canyon had been this year from 3. Grand Canyon shooting just 26.9%. And another thing that we did bring up as well, Mark, on last Sunday was how it wouldn't surprise us if we saw Iowa play some zone, even though their man-to-man as of late had been going well for Iowa. Wasn't going to surprise me to see Iowa play zone against that big lineup. I think maybe the foul trouble precipitated some of that, but Iowa was really effective in their zone.
Go over Keegan's stat line. I think that's a goodie. That's a keeper.
Yeah.
You like to see him in his first NCAA tournament, not be him, not like, oh my goodness, I'm in the NCAA tournament. No, he was Keegan Murray, and that was good. That was a great stat line. I don't have it in front of me. John has it on the screen.
Let me just read it for the folks listening to this podcast. 13 points, 25 minutes, 4 block shots, 7 rebounds. He started out 0 for 2 from 3, but he still took his third one and made it. And I was thinking, man, this is a freshman. And he's missed 2 3-pointers, and he's just shooting. That just shows you the confidence that Fran has communicated to Keegan all year long. Like, you just keep shooting it. But you're right, Mark. He absolutely looked like he belonged out there in his first ever NCAA tournament game.
And if you flip the NBA coin on Joe Wieskamp today, it might come up NBA. I mean, Ben posted this on our chat. JW is only the second Iowa player with 15 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists in the tourney. The last guy to do it was James Moses in 1992. That's a good number.
Yeah.
It's good to see Wieskamp doesn't have any ankle effects. I'm pretty sure we're safe in saying that, John.
Yeah, I think.
But that was another performance this tonight. Those two guys stepped it up. When Iowa, J-Bo had a J-Bo game, I think, for the most part. It was there when it needed it. Frederick was something that came up on my CJ Frederick came on my Twitter feed, and John, I'm still with him. He's breaking in the glove this year. He's not, in my opinion, it always feels like he's a little step behind this year, not speed wise, not the game, but just how much he's played. So
right.
And I don't mind, I still think he's an unfinished creature as far as an offensive basketball player. And I don't know how that unwinds and unfurls, but I'm here for it. I want to see it grow. And you know what? If he makes some mistakes, misses some shots, has a streak going the wrong way during the tournament, you got to let him ride it out. Probably not the next game, though. I think the next game is the Sweet 6, and that's probably all that's going to play.
Yeah, I agree with you on Frederick. I really like the breaking in the glove analogy because I think that next year in the post-Luka, likely post Wieskamp, and likely post J-Bo era that Iowa's going to enter into, Frederick's going to need to shoot 13, 14 times a game. He's going to need to get a little bit more Kelly Leak into his game.
I love it.
Be a little more selfish.
Get the hell out of here, Tanner. I need to catch this.
Right. I knew you'd appreciate a Bad News Bears reference.
Absolutely.
But he's going to need to be a little more selfish. He seems visibly deferential given the cast of characters around him, and that's fine.
That's a great point.
Yeah. I think that he'll get there. I do think that he'll get there. I think that once you have those air-sucking cults of personality, the cults of player personality that Iowa has on the floor, and I don't mean that in a negative way. You've got the best scoring center in the history of Big Ten basketball. You've got Joe Wieskamp doing things through his junior year that no other Iowa player has ever done when you chime in points, rebounds, threes, all that. And he's one of the best 3-point shooters in Iowa history. And then you have the best 3-point shooter in Iowa history. You probably sometimes think, what's my role here? Coach is telling me to shoot more, but I got these guys around me. So I just think it'll be a natural filling of the void for CJ.
Yeah, and then you don't know who he's going to work off of. I mean, a team has, certain roles that pop up. There'll probably be a defensive stopper type guy next year, and I think CJ can kind of be that too. I think he's kind of athletic, and I think you've made the point before in this podcast that he is probably the best wing defender.
Yes.
When he's right. I mean, he can stop a dribble and he can get vertical and defend guys that way. So hugely important player. I think next year maybe he's a de facto captain type.
Yeah, for sure.
And I assume the guys who are supposed to be leaving will leave. Not like Wisconsin, where every pain in the ass is going to stick around, so they can be a pain in the ass again next year. Brad Davison, but I like this game. I liked Grand Canyon. Let's give a salute to Grand Canyon. This is the kind of game. If Iowa weren't in it, you guys would have watched. Probably would have turned off for another game. I'll be honest.
Right.
But these are the kind of games that put the spirit, I think, into the tournament. Seeing a team that's purple that you didn't know was purple. Hey, Grand Canyon's purple. Goodbye. Thanks for coming by. Thanks for stopping by the booth. So, yeah, they got the game in. But, John, I still stand by the fact that when the Oregon game was canceled, this felt wrong to me. And I know, like I said, irrational. And we bet if we think that's the only weird thing that's going to happen in this tournament this year, no. There'll be weirder stuff.
Wait till next weekend when you have these multiple days that go by, and it just creates more of an opportunity for other teams to get sick. And I know this will sound weird, but I think, and I'm not a scientist, and don't worry, don't get freaked. I'm not going to say anything stupid, but the majority of Iowa's basketball team had COVID during the summer and fall.
Yeah.
The vast majority did. Don't want to get into names because I don't want to get into HIPAA stuff, but you haven't really seen Iowa. I think it just kind of shows up. Iowa's kind of been there, done that. And I think that there's some teams that just haven't been exposed to it. And it wouldn't surprise me, Mark, if we got to next weekend in the round of Sweet 16 and there's another team that has to not be able to play. Wouldn't that be a shame?
You know what? And then you go get Louisville and you bring them in what? The Elite Eight? Hey, Louisville, come on up. You're in the Elite Eight now. No, it's going to be weird. And you're right. I think there will be another team that has to bow out. And it kind of reminds me, I don't know if John, you were keeping track of it at all, but I want to say last summer, Iowa prep softball and Iowa prep baseball, when the pandemic was still pretty new and they wanted to have those, you had teams bowing out at the state, sub-state level because somebody had COVID.
Yeah. So
I guess, that was a harbinger. I guess I should have paid more attention and put more credence into that. But to me, it was like I use this analogy a lot, but it's like the fire alarm that has a low battery and it's beeping and you can't figure it out. That was the sound in my head after the Oregon game was canceled. It's like, hey, this is a great fun game, but boy, oh boy, I wish somebody could find that fire alarm and put some batteries in it.
Yeah. I mean, everyone's going to have a different opinion, and we'll open this up to folks in the chat here in a bit. But, the last game that Oregon played was Friday, March 12th, which was now 8 days ago. The next time they're going to play is basically a 10-day layoff when they play Iowa on Monday. Who do you think that favors? I mean, Oregon has been practicing. This wasn't like a COVID stop where they haven't been practicing together. And Oregon's also dealt with that twice this season when they had to shut their program down. So they've kind of been there, done that a little bit relative to not playing games over a period of time. I don't know. I like what Iowa has. I like that Iowa came out. They were hitting on all cylinders offensively as Michael Kimmer just loses in Southern victory to another Penn State wrestler. Irritating. So I kind of think, Mark, that I like Iowa's hand, but some people might like Oregon's hand.
Yeah, I kind of like Iowa in this. I like they knocked the rust off. 8 days is a long time, I think, in basketball, but it's not like 47 like it was, I think, for the 2003 Orange Bowl, where Iowa had like 47 days off. Yeah, I don't know if it's good. I think if Oregon are they a 3-point shooting team, is that their strength? John, if you want to put the Oregon Dan Palm up and
Yeah.
just get people kind of weave a refresher of what Oregon is in for people, I think that'd be good.
Yeah,
It's now time to talk about them, right?
Yeah, it is, and we can talk about them without people kind of angrily tweeting, "Hey, focus next game, next opponent." When we don't play in the games, ladies and gentlemen. You said Dan Palm. That's really funny.
Oh shoot! I did.
That's
So Dan Welter's in my head.
I know Dan's in your head.
Ah, Dan.
And I think he even has that Dan Palm. So here's Oregon. Offensively, they're 14th in the country in offensive efficiency, and defensively, they're 66th. That's a very similar fingerprint on those two numbers to what Iowa is, to what Ohio State is. Top 30 in effective field goal percentage. A little more sloppy with the ball than Iowa. Iowa's in the top 4 in the country in turnover percentage, but Oregon, on the other hand, doesn't really turn you over all that much. Their effective field goal percentage defense is not that great. They're not a great offensive rebounding team. They're an average offensive rebounding team, and they're an average defensive rebounding team. They don't get to the foul line all that much, which I think you can probably see those statistics coming out in the percentage of their 3-point shots. Because if you're not getting to the line, it means you're not driving or you don't have a big. And that's the thing with Oregon. They don't really have bigs. And I had a whole sheet of things here from last Sunday that I cleaned my desk up. Mark, I should never clean my desk up, but my wife was irritated with me. So those cards
you're going to move next week again anyway.
No.
You like to do it so much. You're going to move every week now.
No.
Tony put up, and I put it up on for the podcast people. I put up on the live screen. Tony. Oregon will spread the floor, sometimes with all 5 outside the 3-point line, and drive and kick.
Yeah.
Altman will design several defensive options, and they'll switch in and out. Hawks have to stay in front of them.
Yeah,
good thoughts, Tony. Thank you.
Yeah, Tony Bussin, as I got your name right that time, Tony. That very much is indicative of their free throw attempts versus field goal attempts number being one of the lower in the sport. Right there. That's your answer. They're a drive and kick team. To me, if I got a drive and kick team, I might junk it up with some zone. Honestly, I know it. I see those things, and that's the initial thought that comes to my mind. You want to drive through multiple players. You want to kick, try to pass the ball through multiple zones with hands out and things of that nature. But they are a good 3-point shooting team. They're top 20 in the country in 3-point shooting percentage. They are a team that can block. They're long. They don't have big guys. I don't know that they start anybody over 6 feet 7 inches tall, but they get in the passing lanes. They are long and they are angular. They did lose 2 out of 3 to Oregon State. Go ahead. What's up there on the screen, Mark?
Matt, looked at Oregon's schedule. 2 breaks of 10 and 12 days. Oregon lost their first back-to-back games both times. So, interesting. Good pull there, Matt.
That's a really good pull. So I'm going to go pull this up. January 20. So they January 9th to January 23rd, they had a break, and they lost to Oregon State, the first one back. And then there's another one somewhere in here. Well, yeah. So right there, they came back for 1 game, and then they were off again for 10 days, and they lost that one too. So interesting find. Thank you, Matt. That's the kind of statistical assistance that I'm looking for here. So we appreciate that. Let's try to hear what some thoughts and comments the people have to say. Let's start with Donald Miller. 15 years after the lowest moment as a Hawkeye basketball fan, we were once again up 17 with 10 minutes left. I started to get nervous, but then I remember Redacted is harmlessly wasting away in Nevada. Redacted likely being Mr. Alford, who did not make it to the tournament. And of course, he's referring to 3-seeded Iowa versus 14th-seeded Northwestern or Northeastern State or whatever the heck they were. Northwestern State, rather. Iowa was up by 17, I think, with 8.5 minutes left. and lost on the last second 3-pointer. And that Iowa team, Mark, was the #1 team in the country on defensive efficiency, in the hundreds in offensive efficiency. But yeah, that was a rough day.
Donald, that's an excellent pull right there. And I think you're being really, really gracious with Alfred by calling him redacted.
He just, well, maybe he couldn't say it anymore. So this one,
that gets us all out of hot water, John.
Yes, right. Yes, it does. Nicholas Baker brings up an interesting question. Biggest game in 20 years on Saturday? I think he means Monday. It's okay, Nicholas, because it's a jacked up.
Hey, we're all excited.
We started
Monday, Sunday. Let's make up a damn day.
That's right.
Sweet damn 16 day.
Let's
go with that.
Yeah,
let's go with that.
It's on the line. Biggest game in 20 years. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Let's just say yeah. I mean,
I do.
Not try to equivocate or not try to talk it off the ledge. It's yeah. This is your first chance at the Sweet 16. Well, they've had other chances under Fran. Gonzaga was a hell of a pull in that second round. Realistic chance to get to the Sweet 16. Yeah, biggest game in 20 years. Break this tape, and you really cut some new ground this year. Fran's new 4-year extension will look that much prettier. Barta will look that much smarter.
Yeah. Well, Marc Morehouse looks smart for basically calling that on the FAC 2 weeks ago.
I did. It didn't take a lot of brain power. I mean, it's.
I wasn't thinking about it.
I
don't have a lot of brain power.
That's 20 years of the other guy next to me asking that question when I should have been asking that question.
Yeah. So you're right, Mark. Iowa has had other chances to make it to the Sweet 16. In 2019, 10th seeded Iowa drew 2nd seeded Tennessee. That game went to overtime, but Iowa lost that game. Then they 7th seeded Iowa drew 2nd seeded Villanova, and they lost by 19. Back in 2015, Iowa drew 7th seeded Iowa drew 2nd seeded Gonzaga and lost that game by 19. So yeah, it's one of those things where the crazy streak where Iowa has not had the opportunity in the NCAA tournament since it began being seeded to play in the second round, a team that upsets some in the first round. It continues. Iowa has always played the highest seed in the second round. And with VCU not being able to play against 10th seeded VCU, not playing against 7th seeded Oregon, the streak continues. But yes, biggest game in 20 years. Yeah. I mean, biggest game since, maybe the last time they went to the Sweet 16 in 22 years ago.
1999 or 2000. One thing that with VCU being canceled out, and we're just talking to people on Twitter, kind of narrowed it down to probably some sort of team violation that spiraled on them a little bit. Imagine being the guy who blew that, or you screwed that up for your team. There's a lot of pressure on these guys to live this Spartan life that COVID and quarantine demands, and they're basically in what I would consider an Olympic village. I mean, there's all the basketball friends they've ever thought of having, and their own teammates, and they're in Indianapolis, a town that's kind of fun, and when they're all huddled together, probably fun. But there's all these rules, and you can't go anywhere, and it's tear down this wall, Mr. Gorbachev.
Yes, an Olympic village without probably the prophylactics.
Without the extracurricular fun. Yeah.
Right, they're giving them the shampoo and the deodorant, not the
condoms.
Not the condoms. Maybe in another life. Oh boy. Let's see. No Sticks, No Bricks says the bench was huge. Keegan, as you talked about, Patrick McCaffrey, Joe T with the tray even. And there were times in this game, Mark, where I was sitting there thinking of the future and thinking of Joe T and Pat. And Patrick, I think the transition from him from this year to next year, I think he'll do it, is that turning it down from 11 a little bit lower to allow things to still be aggressive and attack the basket like he can, because he is going to get mismatch opportunities his whole career because he's 6'9" and he's slithery, as you like to point out. He will get better and having a clue what to do once he gets past that first guy and what to do with the second line of defense. Keegan is already in that kind of comfortable headspace, and I think Patrick will get there next year. When he gets there, he's going to be a hell of a good player.
Agree. You're getting it stronger. I like, I've talked about this before, I like him looking for a shot. It feels to me like with that group, and next year that group will be mostly starting, Patrick kind of feels like one of the designated scorers. He's looking to go to the hoop, and I like that. I like that the second group sort of knows their roles. Really like the growth from Toussaint. I kind of jumped into this with John this year. John knows way more than I do about hoops and the statting and all that stuff. And we talked about what Joe T was at the beginning of this run, a minus offensively. Now I think he's, what would you call it? He's like, I'm trying to think of basically an Iowa quarter. He's like the Nathan Chandler of this offense. He gets it in position and makes it work, like a Brad Banks more. Mm-hmm. Maybe that's a better. He's making things work. He's being patient, and when you're a second string guy in the middle of the Big Ten season and you want to catch your coach's eye and get more minutes, oh hell yeah, you're pressing. You want it. You want. Hey, I'm the guy. I want this. This is what I want. And then you make some mistakes, and then the coach sits you down and says, "Hey, you're not going to get back on the court unless you start doing 1-1-1." And there he is. I think his game has grown. He's matured. And then I think next year, you start thinking about next year. What's Joe Toussaint look like next year? What's he doing for you?
Yeah, I think that, and I think now, because of the way that he's played, there was a replay in this game of Luka getting a basket and an and one, and they had a tight shot on Luka, and the background image was Joe T out of focus. And I saw the big smile on his face, and he jumped up out of his chair, and I thought to myself, that doesn't look like a guy who's thinking about the transfer portal, like a lot of us were wondering about back in January and early February. But really, I think Joe has been plugged in, and Iowa hasn't had too many Joe Toussaints relative to his motor. And if Joe Toussaint can come back next year, turning it from 11 down to 10, big time difference maker. And this team could be really good defensively.
Okay. I'm last week I was putting quotes up that I thought were funny. And then I realized this week that people listening to the podcast could not see the funny. When John was talking, I flashed up Matthew J. Osterhaus. I'm thinking Keegan is going to be a big star. I would have thrown a big star in there. I just to fit with the song, kind of.
Yeah,
he's gonna. I think it was big star, wasn't it? Counting Crows. You're a Counting Crows guy.
Yeah, going to be a big star.
Okay,
we got many reasons for that.
In this moment here and now, John, let's dream big with Keegan.
Yeah,
he's Grant Hill, right?
I'm telling you, the per 40 statistics, the statistical comparison is very comparable to Grant Hill's freshman year. And I think Grant probably was better with the ball off the dribble as a freshman. And I've already taken.
I don't remember him as a cut. I don't remember him as a slasher at all.
Yeah, he was a wing, but I don't think that he was going to the rim as confidently as Keegan is, and certainly not. I think Keegan Murray's a two-time first-team All-Big Tenner if he stays 4 years, but I don't know that he's going to stay all 4 years. I think he's the best NBA prospect that Iowa has had. And when I say NBA prospect, I mean first-round draft pick. He's the best first-round draft pick prospect that Iowa has had, maybe since before Tyler Smith arrived, but maybe since Ricky Davis. And I know it's crazy because he came out of nowhere, and I didn't say that before I saw him play in November. But instantly when we all saw him play in November, I'm like, whoa, this guy can shoot. He can jump out of the gym. He can do things off the dribble. He's fearless going to the basket. He has a mean streak to him. You just can't read it on his face. He's just fearless. I think he's a first team All Big Tenner. And I think that he's got some Grant Hill to his game. Somebody said Scottie Pippen on Twitter, or was it here? I don't
That was
recall.
me. That was me.
That was you.
Me.
Sorry. I'm sorry. Not just somebody. You said it. I love that as well, because I probably see more point forward skills in him than I do even Grant Hill wing skills.
So we're all just sitting here by the keg, and John called the police to tell them that, hey, is it okay that we have a keg? Because now everyone's thinking, man, does Keegan go now? I'm sorry, you guys. That's how my brain works.
That's good.
It was either me or Andy Peterson from the Des Moines Register. We were the big assholes who always asked the first time there was an NFL Hawkeye or a burgeoning NFL Hawkeye.
Yeah.
So when are you going to the pros? Shit. Why'd I do that?
They used to burn them.
No, and then I talked myself out of that, because then those guys would stop showing up. Ebenezer stopped showing up because he didn't want to answer this question. So
no.
But I obviously getting ahead, and I did open the door to say, hey, what's the big idea, or what's the big vision for Keegan?
Yeah, I think it's first team all Big Ten. But since you brought up the keg reference, probably a good time to say hello to our friends at Barntown Brewing.
Iowans know a thing or two about a hard day's work. That's why we do things the right way at Barntown Brewing. Grain-to-glass beers brewed in-house. Scratch-made food, handcrafted with fresh, locally sourced ingredients. We work hard for the reward of watching our guests enjoy great food and beer. Barntown Brewing. West Des Moines, Hawkeyes.
Did you send Pete, the gentleman from Barntown Brewing, who is an avid Bears fan, did you send him any condolence tweets relative to their quarterback pickup and the Red Rifle?
I want to make sure the business relationship is solid first, John, before I start giving another Bears fan crap. But I will at some point. I will.
Unbelievable.
It's in my DNA. I can't not do it, you guys. I'm sorry. It's scorpion and frog stuff.
Yes. That is, I liked it. Scorpion.
We gotta welcome Ohio further into the dance. Al, thank you for keeping us updated in the real world. Ohio takes down the defending champs.
Holy smokes! How about them apples? I got to pull the bracket up here because it's been so long since we had an NCAA tournament. I forgot who the defending champs even were.
And we also have a Shane Battier reference for Keegan, which is very good, very astute.
It's not done. It's not bad. I think that Shane was a little more physically developed, but I kind of like it. Virginia was the defending champs, and guess who took Ohio in their first round? You don't care about my bracket, but I did take that one. I didn't call Ohio State.
I'll say this, John. You don't win the tournament in the first round. But you make it a lot easier for your Elite Eight.
That's true. That is true. So I should have remembered who the defending champs was. Real quick here on some here. Dan Heim says CJ Frederick needs to hunt more shots. I totally agree, and I think as Mark and I talked about a little bit earlier, I think it's coming.
Yeah. I think it's coming.
It's definitely coming.
Let's hope that his ailment, his foot, plantar fasciitis, shin splints, whatever. Man, you just hope that he clears that hurdle.
Right.
And then next year, when we're enjoying the greatest basketball season ever, because screw the pandemic, he'll be something else. And I do. You look at what I was losing, and it's really kind of hard to choke down all-time leading scorer, all-time assist leader, best 3-point shooter. But Iowa could look different and maybe move a little better. And I think a lot of those tools are there. And very excited. You guys, Kyle Kuzma, I don't get that for Keegan, but I'm going to have to hear Al out on that one. But be excited, man, because your team is playing in the big. We've deemed it the biggest game in 20 years. And next year, I fully expect that team to be right here playing its biggest game in a year.
Yeah. That's an NCAA tournament team. I don't have any doubt about it. I think it's a potential top 30 defensive efficiency team. I think it's a potential top 30 offensive efficiency team. I do. We don't know. I was going to make a joke, so I better stop. We think Iowa's probably going to be active in the transfer portal There's so many names, Mark. It's unbelievable what's going on this week.
Have you kept track of the basketball? I tried. Okay, here's how the football portal worked when it first came out. I want to say David Eichelt's organization, 24/7.
Yes.
Someone got a sign in, and so when poor David had to pretend like he wasn't surfing on that thing, I would have been. Hell yes, I would have been. So the guys from 24/7 were kind of cool. Yeah, this guy's in the portal. I think everyone has one now, except, well, I'm not a beat writer anymore. I don't have to worry about it. John, what does the transfer portal look like for basketball?
Everyone, all of them.
Is Xavier Foster in that?
I don't know about that. Now,
I'm just trying to get you in trouble.
No, not at all. Mark and I talked about this a couple of weeks ago. I think it was on the Sunday, March 5th, last game of the regular season victory against Wisconsin podcast. We talked about how Steve Prohm for Iowa State was likely going to get fired, and Xavier Foster was down to Iowa and Iowa State, and Foster hadn't played since January because of a foot injury. But Iowa State signed, and we also said it on that podcast on March 5th, they hired TJ Altenberger. I don't think Jamie probably called anybody else other than TJ Altenberger. He was there with Coach McDermott. He was there for a bit with Fred Hoiberg, and then he went off on his own. He interviewed for the job when Jamie Pollard hired Steve Prohm, but Jamie felt that he needed some head coaching experience. He's had that 2 years at UNLV. Great recruiter. I probably going to be successful there. I don't know that we will see Xavier Foster in there, but if you're looking for a Penn State player, I think they're all in there.
Yes.
It's David Carr from Minnesota. He's in there. I mean, it's unbelievable the number of names that are in there. So I have a hard time believing that if you're a quality big man, you can't look at what Iowa did with Luka Garza in their offense and likely Connor McCaffrey, who's a really good post feeder, back again next year probably too, and say, I think I can score some points and have some fun in that offense. I fully expect Iowa to get at least one, if not two, transfers.
I expect that to happen too. I expect at least one to happen. You put from Torque, you put a question about Perkins up. Talk about him and his role and what you might see for him.
So
and throw Ulis in there. Why not?
Yeah, for sure. Perkins had, he got 6 minutes, and some people might say, John, what do you writer or talking head types make big deals for out of guys that just get 6 minutes or 8 minutes?
It all matters. It all counts. It all counts, guys.
That does it matter when you make that trip to your bank and you put $100 in? It may not be a big deal at that point in time, but if you're doing that every week in 2 years, it matters quite a bit. You just went and paid cash for a car. That's what I've been seeing with Perkins the last, say, 6, 7, 8, 10 games. Fran's been putting him in. He put him in the Big Ten tournament. Perkins just got a cup of coffee in the NCAA tournament. And for these younger players too, by the way, in these nondescript arenas that don't have many fans, couldn't be any better of a March situation for them to come in and play. He's a great athlete. He's the best vertical leap on the team. He's going to be a really good lockdown type on-ball defender that Iowa hasn't had many of. And I think that his offensive game is going to be a slasher. He's going to get he's going to shoot a lot of free throws during his career. Not really sure what kind of outside shot that he has from deep and consistent. Iowa is going to take a step or 4 down next year relative to the number of pure shooters that they have on the floor at any one time. And Ulis is also a guy that can get to the basket. So in Perkins and Ulis, Iowa's going to have a couple of guys out there in shifts and rotations that can get to the basket and drive, and also, get to the basket and even make it, take a shot attempt. Or you got Patrick and you got Keegan trailing from either the other side or coming down the same chute that you went down through. Gives Iowa a much different look offensively, and don't forget Nunji's probably going to be there, but it gives them different ways to attack, and I'm really looking forward to it. Not looking forward to life without Luka and Wieskamp, assuming, and Bohannon, not ready to see them go yet, but I'm excited about the future of Iowa basketball for sure.
Well, here's what I really like about Tony Perkins, and I really can't speak about his game much because it's still new to me.
Right, it's new to most people.
It's new to everybody. He's 6'4", 210.
Mm-hmm.
He's a big cat. He's a guard you could probably put on the baseline, and he could probably do some damage posting up. So he seems to be quick enough. I like that. If he can kind of steal some of the wing defensive ideas or style that CJF has, I really like that.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
Here's one I want to ask. So I told you, I kind of said at the start of the show, you guys, that once the Oregon game was canceled, I was kind of pissed, and the rest of this game was like, screw this. It feels weird now. It only gets weirder for Oregon and VCU in my mind. Sounds like everybody knew on Friday and crapped the bed as far as getting Louisville out of Louisville and the 250 miles up to Indianapolis.
Right.
I'm not going to leave. I'm going to keep the bar to insult out, but Christopher Bryant, the NCAA knowing that VCU had a positive yesterday and didn't have Louisville in the wings to replace them is esque move, as you can fill in the blank. It's just no reason to drag poor Gary into this. It's not his fault.
I tweeted the same thing.
This isn't his fault.
Yeah, I tweeted the same thing during the game, Mark. Why, if they knew Friday? Several people tweeted at me that per the NCAA rules that the deadline for a replacement team was Tuesday.
Okay.
And once things got beyond Tuesday, we were then in a no contest situation, which I think the reasons for that is the NCAA is trying to have a modicum of controlling and creating a bubble. It's not like an NBA bubble, but they're trying, and they're thinking if we're going to bring in a team from beyond a certain day, and Tuesday to Saturday, say, is a 3 or 4 day incubation. I mean, I think I can see them medically and scientifically what they're trying to do. Mm-hmm. There's no perfect silver bullet answer for this, but at least I think they had a plan in place, even if you don't like the plan.
Zach P was setting us straight. Cutoff was Tuesday. Thank you, Zach. Yeah. And like election night, breaking news. Maryland takes down UConn. Thank you.
Well, the Big Ten's getting a little bit of pep back.
Okay, everybody, I want to ask this for the crowd. Here I was last night. I was all in on Rutgers, John. I'm not afraid to say that. I'm not afraid to admit that in public. I was all in on Rutgers because, wow, the Big Ten had certainly crapped the bed in day one. I watched Purdue lose. I watched Purdue. Purdue's kind of my favorite sort of Big Ten underdog, John. I can't explain it. I actually, I was there. I was in that end zone that had the sinkhole in it. And you look around, it's the end of a game. Brandon Sheriff has got 2 Purdue guys. He's basically got them in headlocks, leading them downfield. It's 90 degrees. Scott and I are sitting there sweating in our stupid press box clothes. And I'm thinking, wow, this is really a hellhole, Purdue. And then last year, was it last year? A couple years ago, one of the tall quarterbacks from Michigan. Oh crap, I can't remember who.
I mean, that's everyone.
I know he got a head injury. And the Purdue locker room,
the crappy locker room,
the Purdue outdoor. It's outdoors. It's not outdoors, but you got to walk to a building. It's like the West Branch track and field shed is basically what the Purdue visiting football locker room is. And it's funny and quaint until somebody needs to get to the hospital to have their head checked out.
Right.
So Purdue to me is sort of my plus I stayed at a Knights Inn there once. And so that's kind of to me, Purdue's like the off-brand town in the Big Ten. So I'm like they're to me the underdog, and I adore them for that. I really hated to see them go down the way they did.
I didn't like that either. I thought that they were going to beat Villanova as well, and
two big men, and they couldn't stop that. So hey, Robin, thank you for that. And I didn't really watch the game without my pants, but I think that is a new rally. Just like I think when Iowa wins a football game at home, take a crappy quarterback helmet and say it's the quarterback's helmet, and everybody gets to have it downtown. I love that tradition. Please don't kill someone with it, but have fun. I like the pantsless Iowa basketball watching tradition. Do that. And they won today, so you have to do it next game.
Some people were saying earlier that they didn't believe that you were wearing pants during this. So
I am, because it's cold in here. I'm freezing.
It's sweatpants. I see that Tobacco Sunburst guitar you got behind you. I'm really digging that.
That one's for sale. That's a semi-hollow body Gibson ES 3 something or other. Lower level of it. My son has never touched it, basically. So
take pictures and email it to me.
You bet. You bet.
I'm a potentially interested buyer.
I'll give you a deal for sure.
That sounds good.
I'm learning how to the pink telly. I'm trying to learn how to play that.
See,
one.
if you can get going on a telly because the action's lower, it's harder to go from a telly to an acoustic. But if you can get it going on a telly, you'll be excited. Then you'll put the work in.
Yep.
That's all that you need to do.
I liked the Dave thing you put up from Matt Benson 07 or 06. I can't remember which, but you guys should be following Matt. I introduced him as a Stats Inc. guy who knows all the Iowa stuff. Iowa grad, lacrosse, intramural or club lacrosse. Grand Canyon hadn't allowed anybody to score 77 points this season until today. Yeah, we talked about it last week that they were one of the best effective field goal percentage defensive teams in the country. I would say, Mark, our scouting report that we did on Saturday, I kind of saw You did.
Well, I want to say we did it. You helped set me up and navigate it. It seemed like it kind of played to the scout. Now, I'm using the term scouting report, lowercase s and lowercase r, just from the statistical profile that we were able to get and watching a little bit. It kind of looked like that. I'm going to probably go watch a little more Oregon over the course of the next day. They got one of their guards just. They're a team full of athletes. Should be a track meet.
To me, John, I don't. I've watched one Pac-12 basketball game this year. I'm not going to be an expert. To me, the X factor for Oregon is Dana Altman. He's a guy who knows Iowa. Right. He probably reads Scott Docterman's The Athletic posts on Iowa basketball. He's probably a little bit not a fan, but he's from around here. So to me, he's a guy who probably could have made it if the Arkansas weirdness didn't happen. He's probably at a blue blood. Yeah, he probably would have had a chance to be at a blue blood.
I mean, the image of him doing the pig suey. I mean, we all probably wish we had a few do-overs in life. I can't imagine that that's not high on Dana's list of do-over requests.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't get it. This is from Dan McCall. I don't understand the rooting for other conference teams. I don't root for them during the season. Why root for them during the tournament? Not everybody probably does. My whole thought process on this is the Big Ten was really good this year. It was one of the best conferences in college basketball over the last 20 years. 2004 ACC and 2017, I think it's 2017 Big 12, and this year's Big Ten. And when Iowa, in the year that the Big Ten is one of the best conferences in 20 years, goes out and ties the school record for the most Big Ten regular season victories with 14, the same 14 that the 1987 team had and the 69-70 team that went 14-0. This was the third best regular season winning percentage, I think, probably since Iowa started playing at least 16-game regular seasons. So to me, I kind of want the Big Ten to stand up and be counted just so you say, yeah, I mean, whether or not they win in the NCAA tournament or not, Purdue losing sucks, but it doesn't diminish what the Big Ten was this year and playing the full Big Ten schedule. I actually like Illinois' team this year. I know that I'm probably going to get shanked somewhere by someone for saying this, Mark, but I like watching Illinois' team play basketball this year. I liked watching Michigan's team play basketball when Livers was healthy. That was fun, good-looking basketball to me. So that's just my take. What about you? You probably don't root.
I watch all Big Ten all the time. Basketball, mostly football, and in football, guys, I can't get away from the Big Ten West. It's just where I'm from.
Right.
I mean, I've lived in every state in the Big Ten West now that I moved to Illinois, except Nebraska. I don't envision moving to Nebraska.
I hope not.
But to me,
if you do,
where
you're
we're
going
from.
to be if you do, you're going to be working at a Cinnabon in a mall.
I want to get the front end of that story, but it's also teams I was going to play
right
every time, so that makes me I've got to watch this team.
Yes.
And my ritual for football was DVRing 1 or 2 games of the team I was playing that week and watching those on Tuesday night. Of course, after I talked to Kirk, so I didn't have the good questions, but I did have at least something to put in the notebook for preview type stuff. So if you watch just Big Ten West in football, yeah, you probably will pine for a little bit of that sweet SEC stuff. But to me, it's just where we are, who I was playing week in, week out. If you want to make fun of Nebraska, you can watch them, and then you can go on Twitter and make fun of them because you saw it. By the way, I thought Nebraska was an easy program to bet on last year. I made a little bit of money off betting on Nebraska. So
on football?
Yes.
I could not. I bet on them to cover too many times. I'm guessing you went the other way.
Yes, I thought they won the games they should have won, I thought, and lost the games they should have lost, I thought.
Yeah.
But I was hard on Nebraska. I mean, I didn't give them the benefit of the doubt either. Big Ten, though, I watch a lot of Wisconsin football just because that's, to me, Iowa's brother. Outside of conference, I don't watch a lot of outside of Big Ten. I will watch Iowa State in football and basketball. But for the most part, I get getting away from because you hate the Big Ten. I mean, basketball, after Wisconsin, do you ever want to see Wisconsin basketball again? No, not until next year.
Right.
I get that sentiment. But to me, the Big Ten is, it's kind of a fraternity that they're all in, or sorority, whichever way you want to go with it.
That's it. And I was in a fraternity in college, and there was a couple of guys I didn't like. Wisconsin would be those guys to me. I don't ever want them to win. I wanted North Carolina to win last night, not just because I had an extra incentive rooting interest. I just don't like Wisconsin. And I have admitted this before, and I'll do it again. It's envy-based because Wisconsin's football and basketball programs, numerous times over the last 2 decades, when they have had the opportunity to advance their brand, they have done it. And Iowa, more often than not, hasn't. So that fan deep down inside of me, it's envy over Wisconsin. So I just hope they always lose.
The one I hate Harbaugh, and so now I hate Michigan by extension. I hate Michigan State. I just hate them.
Yeah.
Some of the stuff I came across covering that Big Ten recruiting, I hate Michigan State. One quick guitar thing. My son was not this John S. Marc, where's the Gibson Les Paul. My son is a Fender dude, and he never asked for one of those. So all these guitars were way more expensive. The one he liked was a $300 Strat, and that's the one he's pounding the shit out of down in Iowa City.
And so just one you go with.
Yeah, exactly. It's the one he loves. So that's where the Les Paul is, John.
Very, very nice. Now that if you ask the question about Big Ten teams another way, like John, what Big Ten teams do you root for? I've not rooted for Michigan State football. I've not rooted for.
You root for Michigan State basketball?
No. Too much head trauma.
Too much of a coach who has a mannequin of himself in their arena place.
Yeah, it's just
ew. It's icky. Michigan State is icky.
They are icky. I've not ever rooted for Minnesota football, and I've not.
Why would you? You know what, Iowa fans? Here's where you put Minnesota football. Iowa fans, out of your minds. They're not a threat. It's like, oh my God, because Kazakhstan declared war against the United States. So, do they have gas? No. Okay, that's it. Actually, they do have gas, but. You don't Minnesota football, you don't worry about it.
Yeah, you don't. You're right. So doing all this math, I wanted Ohio State to beat Alabama in the football championship.
I did too. I was 100% Ohio State.
But I somewhat, and I actually like the players on this year's Ohio State basketball team. Liddell has.
I really like them after today.
Yeah, exactly.
Some of those kids went through hell on social media.
It's just such crap. None of the people listening to this or watching this would ever send mean tweets like that to players.
Threatening.
threatening. Yeah, I hope
racist, threatening garbage.
Yeah, I hope every single one of those people is made famous.
I hope they go to jail.
Yeah, I agree. It's insane. So, okay, I think that we have reached.
Wait a minute, Dan, you got to help us out here. I've never listened to Pat, and I have all the respect in the world for Pat because he made his job. He got rid of the newspaper, got rid of him. He said, "Screw that! I'm going to do my own thing," and he's doing his own thing, and he has people in an audience, and I respect that. You got to tell us.
I know what he's saying.
What are we? Am I ranting too much?
No. Pat Hardy.
I just want to make sure I'm not ranting too much. You guys,
no. Pat Hardy, Tom Suter, and the captain.
I've been on their show. They're good.
Steve
guys.
Soboroff. They talk music. They go down musical tangents a lot, which I actually love. I love listening to their podcast. And I love it when they steer off the road. But we start talking about guitars and things like that. That's
John has a story too. I'm leaving John's story out. John actually sent me a picture of a guitar he was able to get back after some financial woes, and it's a sweet ass guitar.
It's really nice. I'll have to show it next time, and I'll tell the story. But I love that. But I love the story more. And when I told my oldest daughter the other day when she came home, I was like, "Wait, is that your old guitar?" Like, it's not the one, but it's just like it.
That's good stuff.
Yeah, a little 8 year of circuitous redemption there. So
we could get together and play a C chord. I think I got it.
We'll do one of those Zoom
C. And Nirvana songs are only 2 chords. I think we can
2 chords on a 5-string guitar. So
and one of the best singers of all time, in Kurt Cobain.
We will delve into the musical and to the obscure this summer during is what Marc has dubbed in the previous podcasting life, the Horse Latitudes. We're absolutely going
John,
there.
That's yours now too. That's the one thing the Gazette let me keep, Horse Latitudes. Now it's ours. Gazette didn't let me keep any pens, any notebooks. Man, they really shook me down. But hey, Horse Latitudes, I'll get the hell out of here.
Absolutely. Marc got to keep that. All right, folks. Once again, thanks to all of you for being here. Want to thank another sponsor, Fong's Pizza. They've got them in Cedar Rapids. They've got them in Des Moines. Check them out. Go to HawkeyePodcast.com. We've got Fong's ads all over. Click right there on the ad. You can go right to their website. Order some tonight if you're in the 319 or 515. And also to our friends at Heartland Flagpoles and Flags, their website, heartlandflags.com. Getting ready to fire up baseball season. Those of you that have fandom in that sport, go ahead, hit heartlandflags.com. I got my Kansas City Royals flag ordered from them, ready to fly that here once the season begins. I'm kind of superstitious about things like that. Don't want to fly it a little too soon. Yeah, because I think the Royals actually are gonna they might peak at the wild card this year, but I can't watch them because, of course, the Fox Sport Network's regionals are in a pissing match with Sinclair, and I got YouTube TV, and I'm not happy about that.
One thing I want to do with Heartland is I want to have the contest for some of our designer listener friends.
Yes,
I have an idea in my head that Iowa needs a secondary logo, and when I say secondary logo, hockey teams used to wear. Like the Blackhawks had the tomahawk C on their sleeves. Yeah. The Colorado Avalanche had that stupid foot on their jersey. I love the foot logo. I think Iowa fans, you guys, one of you guys, please. And you know what? I'll pay to have it put on the flag. And I think we could probably do something really cool there. I'm just kind of ideating out loud.
Well, definitely.
Probably not Cheese Dickory flag, Chris.
Well, I don't know. We'll see.
Well, maybe. I could probably use one.
Also, through the end of March, you have an opportunity for free to win this jersey that I'm holding up for those of you watching the video. For those of you listening, it's a George Kittle San Francisco 49ers signed autographed jersey right there. George Kittle's signature is right there. Certificate of authenticity right there. And all you got to do, go to HawkeyePodcast.com, go to the search bar, type in Kittle. It'll take you to it, and you enter to win. If you just sign up to our newsletter, that's an entry. If you put it on your Facebook page, you get more bonus entries. So you're helping us. We're helping you potentially win some pretty cool gear. So it's symbiotic. Is what the
George.
kids like.
I'll tell you. You might think, some of you who don't know or George very well might think, hey, the lights are on, he's acting like that. But no, that was George day one. I met George when he was a 18-year-old kid from, I didn't even know he was from Iowa City. He was from Norman, Oklahoma. He asked John Campbell to be an intern and be a cameraman for KCRG as an 18-year-old kid going to the University of Iowa. So here he is sitting in our office. I know he's a tight end talking to Hawkeye, so I pretend not to be too interested because, of course, the Iowa beat guy is going to be bugging him and asking him, hey, what's this? What's that? Blah, blah, blah. No, we sat there and we talked like adults. He looked me in the eye, talked like an adult, started making jokes with Scott. He is this guy. So he's the most genuine, one of the most genuine people who's walked through that program, at least that I got to get to know a little bit. Absolutely that. We want to get you guys for the wrestling.
Yes.
Spencer Lee, it's gonna be over before I finish this thought. So let's get you going.
For Marc,